Throughout the long and varied history of humankind, a remarkable story has been told. It is a story that surfaces in countless cultures on every inhabited continent. This is the tale of a great world-altering flood, a deluge so immense that it washed over the land, reshaping the very earth and the course of life itself. From the ancient civilizations of Mesopotamia to the indigenous tribes of the Americas, this narrative persists. It speaks of a time when the waters rose, seemingly without end, threatening to erase all existence. The ubiquity of this story is, in itself, a fascinating phenomenon that has puzzled historians and scholars for centuries. Why did so many different, unconnected peoples all conceive of such a catastrophic event? The shared memory of a great flood is not merely a curious coincidence. It represents one of the most powerful and enduring archetypes in human mythology. These stories, though differing in their details, often carry a similar weight and a profound message about destruction and renewal. They serve as cautionary tales, moral lessons, or explanations for the world as it is known today. The flood is frequently depicted as a cleansing force, a divine punishment for humanity's misdeeds, or a cyclical event in the great turning wheel of time. The survival of a chosen few, who then go on to repopulate the earth, is a common and hopeful thread that runs through many of these ancient accounts, suggesting a chance for a new beginning. The most familiar of these flood narratives in the Western world comes from the book of Genesis. Noah, a righteous man in a world filled with wickedness. He is instructed by God to build a colossal ark. He is to gather his family, pairs of every kind of animal, to shelter within its wooden walls. Then, the rains come. For 40 days and 40 nights the water pours from the heavens, bursts forth from the deep until the highest mountains are submerged. It's a story of divine judgment, preservation, and covenant. When the waters finally recede, Noah and his family emerge to begin life anew under the sign of a rainbow. Long before Noah, other civilizations in the ancient Near East told similar tales. The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest works of literature from Mesopotamia, contains a parallel account. Gilgamesh seeks the secret to immortality from Utnapishtim, who reveals he survived a great flood sent by the gods. He was instructed to build a great boat to save his family, his craftsmen, and the seed of all living things. The storm turns the world to clay and darkness. Eventually the waters calm, and his boat rests on a mountain. The similarities are extraordinary. The Hindu Puranas tell of Manu, warned by Vishnu in the form of a fish. In Greek myth, Zeus sends a flood, and Deucalion builds a chest, surviving with his wife Pyrrha. From the Anishinaabe people of North America to Aboriginal tribes of Australia, stories of a submerged world and survivors are found worldwide, with common elements making the flood myth compelling. As we turn from ancient texts to the physical world, scientists have searched for tangible proof of a great flood. The Earth itself holds a record of its history, written in layers of rock, soil, and ice. Geologists and archaeologists have uncovered evidence of massive, catastrophic floods in various parts of the world, though not necessarily a single, global one. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence comes from the region around the Black Sea. Scientists such as William Ryan and Walter Pittman have proposed a dramatic hypothesis. They suggest that around 7,600 years ago, the Black Sea was a smaller, isolated freshwater lake well below sea level. As glaciers melted, global sea level rose and the Mediterranean breached the natural dam at the Bosporus. This would have been cataclysmic. Water thundered into the Black Sea with the force of hundreds of Niagara Falls, rapidly inundating vast areas. Shorelines may have advanced a mile a day, drowning settlements along the shore. Further evidence comes from sediment cores drilled from the sea floor. In the Black Sea, geologists found a distinct layer separating freshwater organisms from saltwater ones, signaling a sudden shift in water composition. Similar megaflood evidence exists elsewhere. Washington State's channeled scablands show enormous dry waterfalls and deep canyons, giant ripple marks in solid rock. Geologists link these to repeated violent bursts from glacial Lake Missoula at the end of the Ice Age, unleashing floods of immense power that offer a plausible natural mechanism for mythic floods. Despite the intriguing geological evidence for massive regional floods, many scientists and historians remain pretty skeptical about the biblical account of a single, worldwide deluge. If the entire planet, including its highest mountains, were submerged in water, it would have left a distinct and universal mark on the geological record. We would expect to find a uniform layer of sediment deposited across all continents, a bathtub ring around the globe. Yet despite extensive geological surveying, no such universal flood layer has ever been discovered. The Earth's geology tells a story of diverse, localized processes over billions of years, not one of a single recent global catastrophe. Furthermore, the logistical challenges presented by the story of Noah's Ark are, from a scientific standpoint, immense. The biological diversity of our planet is just staggering. Housing two of every species would require a vessel of truly impossible dimensions. Consider the millions of insect species, the countless varieties of microorganisms, and the unique fauna of isolated continents like Australia. Gathering all these creatures from every corner of the globe would have been an insurmountable task. Moreover, the care and feeding of such a diverse menagerie for an extended period presents a host of biological and practical problems that just defy simple explanation. The fossil record also presents a significant challenge to the idea of a global flood. The arrangement of fossils in rock layers follows a very specific and consistent order, known as the principle of faunal succession. Simpler life forms are found in the lowest, oldest layers, while more complex organisms appear in the upper, younger layers. If a single great flood were responsible, we would expect a chaotic jumble of all life forms mixed together. This is not what the fossil record shows. The debate over the Great Flood persists at the crossroads of faith, myth, and science. For many people of faith, the story of the flood is a matter of profound religious belief, a cornerstone of their understanding of history and God's relationship with humanity. For them, the biblical account is divinely inspired and historically accurate. They interpret geological evidence through that lens. They see signs of a global deluge in formations like the Grand Canyon, and in the very existence of fossils. For them, the story is not merely a tale but a testament to God's power and justice. On the other side, many scientists and historians argue it's not literally true on a global scale, but likely rooted in real regional events. The Black Sea deluge hypothesis is a prime example. This perspective suggests the myth is preserved memory, an ancient traumatic flood witnessed by our ancestors, passed down through countless generations. Over time, the story was told and retold, embellished and magnified. In this view, the myth shows how cultures process and remember natural disasters. The enduring power of the flood story lies in its deep psychological and symbolic resonance. The theme of destruction and rebirth speaks to our experiences of loss and new beginnings. It speaks to chaos giving way to order. The image of a world washed clean, offering a second chance, is incredibly powerful. The story provides a framework for understanding disaster and finding hope in its aftermath, remaining meaningful whether viewed as historical fact, exaggerated memory, or sacred allegory.